Hey everyone, it's Pup Twigs here from Orlando, Florida, and joining me as my guest tonight, I've got Pup Salem from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I really can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk to you.
Well, I love it because it's from my home state where I grew up most of my life and stuff. So I'm always uh, partial to Oklahoma. I don't want to live there again, but I'm partial to it.
I don't blame you. I have been living here for actually, funny enough, in about a week will officially be 10 years.
Really
Yes, I moved up here from I used to live in Aubrey, Texas. I was born in Austin and I was raised in the Fort Worth, DFW area. And then in 2014, February of 2014, I made the move up here with my mother.
nice. Well, that is kind of odd because I was born in Odessa, Texas.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's crazy.
then went to Oklahoma and was raised in Oklahoma. And then when I got out on my own, I kind of started moving around and settled in Florida.
Man, I mean, I love Florida. I went there once when I was really young. I can't remember what part because I was literally just that young, but I do remember that we did get to go to the beach, and I could see myself going to Florida, like back to Florida. Maybe not to live, but at least to visit at some point.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of people don't want any more people coming to Florida because it's so crowded, but that's what Florida is. It's a tourist destination, and we love the
Oh
tourist
yeah.
dollars. So just keep on coming.
Oh, right, absolutely. One of these days I will be going back because I want to take my sir to go see the ocean. And we're either going to Florida, California, maybe Southern Texas. We'll see. But he was telling me that he hasn't gotten to see the ocean, so I want to take him one of those places one of these
Oh,
days.
he's got to go see the ocean. So yes.
Absolutely.
So I always like to start off learning about, your pup name and also about your puphood choices. So tell me a little bit about, how you got Pup Salem and also about your hood and your colors that you've selected.
Well, the name, I have a full name. My full name is Salem Ishmael Netherworld. If you take the first initials, that is Sin all the way through.
Oh, nice.
Um, the name Salem has a variety of meanings to me. Not everybody knows this. Um, I first found out about the pet play and pup community when I was a teenager, around the time I did move up here. Um, I and still kind of am, but I started as a furry, and that was the name of my original fursona was Salem. The name itself kind of represented like kind of how I felt at the time, and still kind of now to a degree, how I feel like the pup community at times and the kink community can be really misunderstood. Because if you think back to the 1700s when the colonists were first coming to America,
Hmm.
the witches were persecuted and oftentimes killed for what they believed in, what they enjoyed, and what brought them happiness and peace in their life, you know?
Yeah.
Not everybody wanted to understand it. There was a stigma against them. And I thought to myself, like, it's kind of to me almost taking the power back of saying, like, you already assume something of me, so I'm just going to take it and run with it and can, be the best version of myself that I can. The full name kind of came about over time. Netherworld was kind of like a joke about, because I'm kind of like a rocker, kind of punky, you know. Um, Netherworld is in like the underworld. Ishmael, I just always really liked the name. And one of my puppy friends, Blitzkrieg, made a joke to me because I was having an issue putting a harness on myself or something. He's
Hmm.
like, I'm having issues, Salem issues, Netherworld, sin. And it just kind of clicked. I was like, that's genius. I have to do that.
I love that. You're probably one of the more unique ones on how you got your name, and I absolutely love it. So,
I mean, and it's funny because, I mentioned I knew about pup play when I was a teenager. I would have gone so much deeper into it. And I've told several puppies and, friends in the past, like, oh, I've known about this for a long time. The problem was, well, not so much problem, but my life was just taking a different direction at that point, and I
mhm.
was following where my passion was at the time. And I'm sure we can talk about this a little bit later, but I was real big into music and the music scene, so I was pursuing that hardcore. And when I got out of that, something in me at that time a couple years ago was just like, maybe it's time to go back and tap into this a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then I remembered like, okay, if I'm gonna be a puppy, what would my name be? And I was like, I gotta use Salem. That's the name that's just always been there. Um, the colors of choice, purple has been my favorite color forever. Um, everybody and the purple hood is new. Everybody knew me for the all black that I always wore. And black is just a color that goes good with everything. And purple to me kind of represents the middle ground of between, because stereotypically blue is associated as like a color of good, red
Mm-hmm.
is like a color of like bad or whatever, which, you know, colors always have different meanings to different people. But to me, purple is like in the middle because I like to, as a puppy and as a person, to try to achieve the best balance that I can of everything in the situation that I'm in. So purple is just, and the name both kind of go with me trying to hone in on myself and take my own power and be the best version of myself that I can be.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that you had thought about the pups since you were very young. How long have you actually been a pup now?
Um, in June, specifically June the 3rd, I will have officially have been a puppy for 2 years.
Okay, so you've been in it for a little bit now.
Mhm.
So in that time frame, almost 2 years, what have you found has been the easiest part of getting into and being part of the pup community? And then what has been the most difficult?
Um, we'll start with the bad and then end on a good note. I mean,
Okay.
definitely the hardest thing, because I mentioned I used to be in the music scene, the hardest thing has been like trying to tiptoe around with certain members of my family, like what it is that I do with my extracurricular time. Like
Yeah.
I have a full-time job now, and so they're like, so what it is, you can't just be working, so what is it that you're doing? And I don't, they don't need to know.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So there are certain family members that do know that I trust, and I know that that information isn't going to go anywhere. So, I mean, the hard part has just been, you know, keeping it to myself because, of course, it's something that I'm passionate about and that I really enjoy. So, of course, I'd love to talk about it, but some people don't care to hear about it, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
to each their own. I'm not going to expect everybody to understand. Um, but definitely that's been the hard part, just kind of to keep my joy in pup play to myself.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest part has definitely been the ability to be authentic and the ability to be a bit more free, whether I'm in the hood or just in the headspace overall. Um, I feel like as Salem, I am able to express parts of myself that I typically don't get to. And it allows me to tap into it's almost like trying to, I mentioned just trying to be better overall, because I feel like, we all want that at the end of the day. Um, like Salem represents both who I am and who I strive to be. Like I would like to be this. And so just definitely the easiest part is just being authentic and having fun with it because that's at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
You are very right there. So if you had the ability to change something about our community, what do you think you would want to change?
That's a good question. So I know that it had been a conversation a little bit at the end of last year. Um, and this is something we can talk about later if we have time to do it, but there was the calendar that Tosa was putting together. This ties into what I would change.
Mhm.
There was some conversation about body shaming and being inclusive to others. What I would change is I can't speak for everybody. Not everybody feels this way, obviously. I would open the door more to everybody. And also, I would change the ability. Hmm. I would also kind of change clicks, because I know that that's a popular conversation as well. Because, when I came into this, I've always been under the impression that it's for everybody and everybody. Like, there's no limit on who you have to be, your age, your gender, your identity, any of that. Like, this is the pup community and puppy play is for everybody who wants to tap into that more primal side of them. So I would just change the way some individuals think about, how others are allowed in, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. What if you knew there was somebody out there that's looking into the community right now and thinking about wanting to become a pup, what advice would you give them?
I would definitely say don't restrict yourself to anything. Don't let others define what your puppy means to you. Um, don't limit yourself to anything. And, not all pup play has to be sexual at its base. Some individuals enjoy just being in the headspace of being a dog, playing with a ball or sleeping on a bed, eating out of a bowl. And that's all they want out of it. And that's perfectly fine. Like, don't let what others do or what you see like on the internet or at an event define how you want to be a puppy.
Agreed. So what brings Pup Salem the most joy out of pup play? What do you like to do whenever you're in your puppy headspace?
Overall, I like to just be silly. That's one of the best words. Because especially when I was growing up, I was often told that I took everything so seriously that I could never, make a joke. I could never be this or be that. And puppy play for me allows me to, I mentioned being able to tap into parts of me that I want to be able to get more into.
Hmm.
I enjoy just having fun more, and I don't have to take everything so seriously when I'm in my puppy head space. And
Okay.
it teaches me to just enjoy things a bit more,
Okay. Do
be a bit more
you
present.
do you have a special play toy that you like? I mean, some pups do and some pups don't.
Um, for me, because I love to tease and my sir about it, he made back when we first started, he would say like you're not getting anything with a squeaker. And then as time has gone on, I've got a bunch of toys with squeakers. So I love things that make noise. I love rope, so I love tug of war, and I enjoy other things that can be done with rope as well. So rope and squeakers are definitely the top two.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So kind of switching gears a little more on a serious piece, but what has being able to get in your pup headspace done for your mental health?
Um, it is both like over. I don't know how well you know about like my situation of what was going on in 2023, but there was a lot that had happened, not just in my life personally, but within like my puppy world of Salem as well. There was a lot that happened, and it's way too much to get into on this call, but we'll start with the bad, get into the good. For bad ways, it did make me feel insecure at times. It did make me feel like there was something, like there was a piece of something that I was missing that wasn't going to allow me to be fully a puppy, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
And part of that might have had to do with social media. I know we talk about how social media can have negative impacts on the brain.
Hmm.
So that would be a big one. Sometimes I would go back and forth on if I even still wanted to do this, but at the end of the day, I'm still here and I'm still doing it. And if anything, like right now, I'm more into it than I ever have been. For the good ways, it has made me feel more confident in who I am as an individual, both in and out of the hood. Um, it has helped me connect with others better and be a bit more self-aware with my being, if that makes any sense.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Good. Is there anything that you wish you had known about the community before you actually got into it?
Um, Definitely I would have liked to have learned certain terminologies before I got in, learning the because I know certain things, and especially like in dynamics, like it can mean different things between different individuals, but
Right.
I definitely would have liked to have gotten a bit deeper into vocabulary. Um, I feel like I should have come in knowing sometimes more safety precautions when it comes to like moshes and certain scenes or what have you. and how to handle the headspace of others because my puppy headspace may not be the same as your puppy headspace or another one's.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what kind of hobbies do you like to do there around Oklahoma City?
Um, well, I like to consider myself a puppy of many trades. Definitely at heart, I definitely am a gamer. Not I don't really play a whole lot these days. Only because there hasn't been any new video games that have really like grabbed my attention. So a lot lately I have been getting back into crafts. My friends and I are picking up sewing, so we're gonna start putting together some new projects. We just got a sewing machine actually, so we're
Oh,
gonna start
nice.
um practicing on some designs. My friends have been making pillows. Um, I personally enjoy being a bit more outdoors these days. I go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, both for mental, physical, and
Mhm.
as a hobby as well. It
Mhm.
makes me feel good to do. Um, and overall, also, like even before I'm a gamer, like I'm an artist at the end of the day. I draw, I paint, I write poems. I mentioned I did music at one point.
Yeah.
I produce a little bit. I write, I sing. Um, I also collect vinyl, so I'm a collector of all kinds of crazy little stuff like that. I do a lot of different things to occupy my time.
You do. You have a wider range of hobbies there. So do you have any time for pets? Do you have any pets of your own?
I am the pet.
You are the pet.
I've had several kinds of pets all throughout my life. I've had a lot of dogs. I've had a lot of cats. I am a dog person at the end of the day, of course. I like cats. They don't always like me, and
Oh, okay.
that's okay. I've had guinea pigs. I killed all my fish growing up. Currently, I do not have any pets aside from myself.
No, that's all right. So what kind of events do you have going on for the pup community there in Oklahoma City?
Um, I'm a part of Red Dirt Dog Park, a one of the main puppy groups out here in Oklahoma City. We do a lot. We typically plan it out quarterly. We have moshes every quarter. We try to do other extracurricular, like non-kink or dungeon related activities because we
Hmm.
do go to a dungeon to hold our moshes out here. Um, we we do have a mosh coming up in the beginning of March, and Pup Gage is actually going to be teaching a class before the mosh, and he's going to be talking about the history of pup play. He's going to be teaching us some different poses and the I mentioned like talking about dynamics a little bit. He's going to be
Yeah.
teaching us about how certain dynamics can work and what it can mean. And then we'll have the mosh afterwards. Um, And also in the beginning of March, I think like a week before or a week after, I'd have to look at the calendar, but we are actually all going to be going to play laser tag.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I'm super fu excited about that. And also I feel like the biggest one in July, specifically July the 18th, we are having a kink weekend out here in the Oklahoma City neighborhood. Um, there's going to be a dungeon, there's going to be a lot of vendors around. And this will be my first time going. I didn't get to go last year because of the way that things lined up with my work schedule, but
Mhm.
I'm very excited about that as well.
Oh, that,
There will be a title competition there as well, and I think it's for Route 66 Pet 2024, I believe. Don't quote me on the title.
oh, that, well, you got quite a bit of stuff going on there then. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. So
We're
then
very active out here.
you mentioned laser tag, and that just kind of perked my ears up. But
Mhm.
is the venue that's going to let you all do that? Are y'all going to get to do it as pups?
I believe so. More often than not, out here in Oklahoma City, most of the business owners have been perfectly fine with us wearing our hoods.
Good.
And we have had more positive experiences when it comes to like public reaction and these things, because you've got people coming up to us asking us questions. So
Oh
we get
yeah,
to educate people about what exactly is going on. And on top of that, like everyone's been like real cool, like, oh, those are cool. I'd like to get one. Where do you get it? What does it mean? And can I get a picture with you? Like, I don't know a lot of pups that are going to turn that down, but
exactly.
We
Well,
get a really good reaction more often than not, especially when it comes to the owners. They're like, "Yeah, you guys can come back." So that we're always getting invites to come back to places, restaurants.
oh, awesome. I love that. It's becoming more and more mainstream the longer we go, which is good to see.
100%.
So if you could ask my next guest that I have on a question, what would you want to ask them?
So this might be considered two questions,
Okay.
but could also be kind of like tied into like the same answer. Um, I thought about this a little bit now that you said it. What do you feel is the biggest misconception about the pup play community? And what do you think needs to happen in America for people to be accustomed and normalize it?
Okay. And yeah, I'm okay with two-part questions. In fact, I love them. So, all right. So that's a good one. Now, yours came from Pup Atlas out of
Ooh,
Denver, Colorado.
I love Atlas. He's so
Oh,
sweet.
he, I'm trying to get him to come on here and do some music snippets for me on the podcast, but I haven't talked him into it quite yet. Uh, I believe his podcast will air either this Friday or the next one.
Beautiful. I
So,
love to
but
see that. It's funny you mentioned him. I'll say this as well. My sir recently joined Instagram as his puppy handle. And he was telling me, he's like, I kind of want to do what Pup Atlas does. I'd like to do some covers and I want to reach out to him to see what I can do to make that happen. So, Atlas, if you're watching this and he hasn't DM'd you yet, DM me and I will get you two talking.
well, there you go. We can do that. So his question was, if you could highlight one special moment from your pup journey, what would it be?
One special moment from my pup journey. That's a really good
Oh,
question.
I agree.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, there's so many. I honestly, well, okay, so I'll use a recent one because there's so many examples that I could use.
Okay.
We teamed up with ICAO, the Imperial Court here in Oklahoma City, to do a charity for LGBT youth who have been kicked out of their homes because, their parents couldn't accept that they were gay or
Yeah.
trans or what have you. And we did an event and all the proceeds went to this charity. I got to perform a couple of songs and perform a couple of numbers. I got to sing and it felt good to be able to get to perform like that in front of a crowd again for what had been, and that was about a month ago, maybe two. No, I think it was last month. So that was really special because I got to tap back into a part of myself that I hadn't really gotten to use in a long time.
Mhm.
And I got to do it for a good cause. So the ICAO charity was definitely a highlight.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, this comes the time now where you get to share your contact information so others can reach out to you if they want to. So I'll let you take that over.
You can find me on a couple of different websites with a couple of different handles. You can find me on Instagram as Spooky Pup Salem. You can find me on Telegram as the Puppy Salem. That would be the best way to message me directly if you want to get a hold of me because I'm not always able to check my DMs.
Okay.
I am on Twitter as Salem JHA. What that means, we'll talk about that another day.
Okay.
And you can find me on FetLife as Good Boy Salem. A boy has an I instead of a Y.
All right. Awesome. Well, any last words to share before we end this?
Just don't let anything hold you back. Don't let yourself hold you back. Instead of thinking that you could never do something, try to focus on what you know you are good at and use the best parts of yourself to grow and to learn and to truly love who you are. Because at the end of the day, there is only ever one you, and nobody can ever take that away.
Right. Well, it has been a pleasure getting to sit here and learn about Pup Salem. Uh, Appreciate showing interest in wanting to be on, and I know this won't be the last time we talk.
You know it. It was so happy. It made me so happy to be on here. Thank you so much for having me.